Quarterback School Live, Friday light edition. A little Friday, May. I'm excited. Talk some ball, see where we're at. It's that off season, your favorite season. Probably not your favorite season, but if you're a player, definitely your favorite season. It's Friday. This thing's going to go anywhere we want it to go. There is never, ever a better time to get a question in than early as you jump into this live. So if you have questions for me, now is the time. Get them in the chat. I'll do my absolute best to get to them. I forgot to pop out the chat so I can actually read it. But yeah, fire it up. Now, at some point, okay, I'm going to warn you. Yeah, I wanted to do this live for one reason. It's taken a detour. Okay, so at some point in this live, I am going to go bananas. I'm going to go off on some social media issues that I've been having recently. So I apologize in advance. If that is not your thing, just fucking log off. Nobody cares. Okay, but at some point it's going to happen. Okay, now the main reason I wanted to have this live was for another reason, a little announcement that I will put into this thing at some point. But to get going, we're just going to talk some ball. So we'll keep this thing pretty casual, pretty short. Friday light edition. Got a handful of non-quarterback school related things I'm trying to get to today. So we're going to crank this out early. Been cranking out a bunch of Patreon community videos this week. Riley Leonard. So if you're interested in those, hop over to the Patreon community. I feel like I've done a bunch of potential 2025 guys recently. I'm sure there's a handful of other guys I want to get to here in the next few weeks, but yeah, maybe a few more X's and O's videos. And then we're basically in the past and this summer as well. I'll probably take July completely off, go dark as far as a channel, and then come back ready to rock in camp in August. So fired up. We got some Raiders fans in the house. Appreciate you guys checking in. Do me a favor as you come into this thing. See if I can get my little things going. There you go. Hit that like button, and we'll crank this thing out. Ryan. Actually, before I get to the question, I see Mario. JT, love the videos. Haas, Y, Juke, and Hank. Thank you. You're welcome. Next in the pipeline is probably going to be Y Cross. Now, I'm not a Y Cross expert. Not certified, but I'm going to do my best to track down some good Y-Cross images, talk through some Y-Cross. Ryan, which rookie quarterback are you most excited to watch this year? I mean, I think everybody is going to say Caleb Williams, unless you're like a Commanders or Patriots fan or Denver fan, or that's probably it for this year playing, at least for sure. Someone told me, I didn't see this, are the Bears the Hard Knocks team? If that's the case, oh my God, that's going to be good for the channel. We're going to be talking some Hard Knocks. I guess I'm going to have to watch that damn thing. Maybe do like some live video reactions, Hard Knock style. I don't know. I think I've talked about Hard Knocks on this channel. I was on Hard Knocks, not on it, but I was on a team that was on Hard Knocks once, and I thought it was weird as hell. And it was probably when I was still a little bit like, not as interested. Not that I'm not interested in the media part of it, but obviously do the channel. So, there's that element of it, but was probably more anti than anything else. And so did a good job of kind of steering clear of a lot of hot mics and weird situations, but it's different. It's different, but I'm excited for the Chicago fans. That's for sure. NYC1TS. What if I told you Leonard was Notre Dame's third best quarterback? I mean, I watched the film. You can get my opinions over at the Quarterback School Patreon community. I think my initial things were Leonard, when he's healthy, is a pretty good athlete, pretty strong, big guy. Passing the ball, though, and I didn't ask him to do much, at least in the games I saw. I know Carr a little bit from Elite 11. I don't know the other dude, but yeah, I mean, we'll see how it all shakes out. Will, I'm going to butcher your last name, so I apologize. I'm a college QB in the UK. I'm assuming that's the UK, not University of Kentucky. What is the best tips for overcoming a lack of coaching? Well, you got to overcome your coaching. It's one of my favorite, best pieces of advice I ever got in the league was from Brett Favre. I was butting heads with our position coach, didn't like my situation when I was in Green Bay. And he pulled me aside one side and said, hey, man, you got to overcome your coaching. So you can't use it as an excuse, especially nowadays. So many resources available, not just the channel, but there's a lot of great resources available for quarterback development. And so, don't use it as a crutch. Find ways to get better. Find ways to improve your craft. If it's important to you, you probably will. If you don't need a motivational speech about it, I'm probably not the right spot for you. But I will tell you that kind of mindset shift for me to say, whatever, 2 middle fingers, I can overcome my coaching. If I have this guy who, maybe doesn't believe in me or doesn't want me in the room, then, I'm going to find a way to make this thing happen in the league. And so that was kind of my mindset that shifted. So I appreciate it. There were a lot of things that Brett that were unique that weren't necessarily my flavor, but that one sentence that he said to me really resonated and stuck with me and gave me, a different perspective for the rest of my career. Triscuits or wheat thins from Marciato. I don't know. Neither. I mean, I'll do either one. I don't have a preference. I'm weird like I guess I'm weird like that. Do people have a preference? Triscuits or wheat thins? Super chat. Boom. Mike, appreciate it. Why don't NFL teams run empty from under center anymore? Why would you run empty? Why would you want it to be under center? So the ball comes out quicker. There's no threat of a run. Maybe for like a fly sweep type situation. I would probably flip the question the way you're looking at it and say, why don't teams run empty anymore? Why did teams ever run empty under center? Probably because they weren't as comfortable with gun. And now gun is kind of taken over, I feel like, as the predominant snap. I think it's easier for the quarterback to be in gun. There's a timing element of being under center with the quick game that can get a little bit easier. Other reasons you would be under center is maybe you're shifting guys back into the backfield. So if you live in that shift world, maybe, I know some teams, defenses will have different empty checks if someone's under center or reverse in gun. So that could be another reason to do it. I would honestly say, Mike, if I had to guess, I would say the quarterbacks are just more comfortable in the gun. You don't have to worry about getting away from the line of scrimmage. You just catch it, let it rip, grip it, and rip it. Now, the only reason I would say I preferred it under center sometimes, especially in the quick game, is because in gun quick game, it's oftentimes, at least I felt like it was grip it and rip it, meaning you're not going to get the laces all the time. Where under center, you're going to get the laces all the time. So that could be a reason to do it. All right. I see in the chat the Bears are Hard Knocks. So strap in. Let's go. Might have to do some like reactionary shows. I don't even know. When does Hard Knocks plays at like a weird time, right? Like 7 o'clock at night. Wonder if I could do, I always see those people doing reactionary shows where they're like, little mug is in the corner and they're watching it together. I don't know if I want to do that. That sounds like some HBO issues. Jay Fishman, you said offseason. What should a quarterback be focusing on until practice ramps up again? Well, that is a massive question. I would tailor it very specific to each quarterback. Is going to be a little bit different. I can tell you anecdotally for me, what worked the best for me was every offseason, I had one or two things I was focusing on, whether it be, drops, footwork, arm action, strength, something that I was like my focus for the first couple months that I could put in work basically on your own. But then throwing wise, once you get where you want to be as far as, mechanics, feel, strength, those types of things, I think you start I always tried to start ramping up my throwing. So it would start from kind of a, maybe barely playing catch, taking some time off, barely playing catch, coming back to throwing a little bit, throwing really intentionally on the field, ramping up to the same kind of numbers that I thought I was going to get through training camp. I always thought as a guy who wasn't the starter, that your most amount of work is going to be in training camp. And so I wanted to make sure I was at my absolute best kind of going into that training camp. I never used training camp to get ready to go. I was ready to go. The first day of training camp was kind of my mindset as far as arm strength, being in the right spot as far as arm health, all those types of things. The one thing that I think I probably worked on every year, I don't think there was a year I took off, was kind of like grip strength or forearm strength. It was always, okay, and this is just my experience, my forearm was the first thing that I felt like, oh, this is not 100% immediately. And I just don't think there's a way you could, at the time, practice that much. You would never get that many like real grips on a ball, especially brand new, like slippery, slick things that you got to deal with sometime in camp from your like off-season work. And so I was just constantly every year trying to increase my grip strength and never got it to the point where I was like, oh yeah, that's perfect, I'm going to do that again. It was always kind of continuing. All right, what else we got? See some familiar names in that chat, so I appreciate it. Griffin, what's good? Late to the party. You're right on time. We got nothing but time here. A little Friday light edition. Chris Peace. Of course, everyone is excited to see Caleb and Jaden Daniels play. I'm interested in seeing Penix and JJ. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention JJ. It'll be interesting to see, like, off the top of my head, what is the biggest training camp kind of fight for a rookie? Is it going to be Minnesota? You got to imagine Caleb's playing. Jaden Daniels is playing. Probably Drake May is playing. Is it Jacoby Brissett in New England? I would imagine Drake May is playing. Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy. You got to think J.J. McCarthy's going to play at some point, unless Sam just goes out there and balls out. Now, maybe he's finally in a good spot, and that's what happens. And, I think anybody in the quarterback world's pulling for him. But they drafted a guy in the first round. So I'm trying to think in Denver, who even is the competition in Denver. I don't even know. I don't imagine the Atlanta situation is going to play out, that great one way or the other. I mean, the only reason Michael would play, right, is if something happens to Kirk. Zach Wilson is the Denver competition. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. Honestly, I didn't mean to laugh. Okay. Fuck, man. That guy's really going to show that he's a genius. He's trying hard to prove that he's an offensive genius with that room. That's going to be interesting. All right. Well, maybe one of them goes out there and lights it up. I don't know what. Well, who knows? Yeah, I don't want to be the jerk who like tries to put like, hey, bro, this guy, it is what it is with this cat. There's certainly room for all these guys to go, improve, get better, different situation. Who knows? But I don't think there's anything we've seen from what Zach Wilson was in New York to think that he's going to go and thrive in an environment that I think with Sean Payton is probably more demanding than what he was being asked to do, at least schematically, with, whatever the hell the Jets were doing offensively. So, I mean, that we'll see. That's funny. I forgot there are a couple. All right. All right. Before I forget, okay, the one thing I wanted to have this live about, if you check, I don't even know what it would be in a live. I forget if you're looking at it like the notes on this thing. I revamped the quarterback school website. So I'm sure some of you will go to it right now. That's fine. Maybe after, maybe later in the day, you go check out the new quarterback school website, theqbschool.com. I certainly would appreciate you doing that. I basically revamped it. I hadn't basically touched it in 5 years, so it was dated in many different fashions. So it's basically now a nice collection of kind of what the channel is and maybe what the channel will continue to evolve towards. It's a nice hub as far as the YouTube, the Patreon, the courses, all the free resources are kind of laid out a little bit easier way to digest it, just a better way to kind of have a home base for me. But the part that I'm most excited to share is there is what I think is a pretty cool little AI element of the channel where you can essentially ask me anything and it will give you an answer based on a previous video. So I think there's got to be well over 500 videos in this AI model that if you go to it, type in a question. Now, hopefully it's a football related question. It's not going to answer every single thing like a chat bot on the internet, but it will answer anything that I've ever talked about in a video. And then it will give you the answer, and then it will share the video link so you can go kind of have the original source. I'm pretty excited about it. I tried my damnedest to get it going before the draft. I was going to launch it kind of at the same time as the draft, and for a number of different reasons, it just wasn't going to work. So essentially, I'm slow rolling the website over the course of the summer, and then I'll really, ramp, not marketing it, but talking about it more in the fall. Just because I think it's a really cool thing to be able to share this little tool where you can ask me anything. You don't have to wait till live, and you can get kind of not only what I've said in the past, but then kind of give you more information if you want to dive down the well of watching the videos of getting more information on it. So I think it's pretty sweet. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Normally I would say come at me, on social media, but I don't have access to the damn Twitter account or X account for the QB school right now. It is bananas, bro. And now we're going to get into the therapy session of this. So I apologize right now if you're just coming into the chat. But first part, I wanted to talk about the new website. I think it's cool. If you don't want to listen to my therapy, maybe go check out the website right now. But basically, I tried to integrate the social media accounts into the website so they would auto upload, basically like what you see at every website. It's not that hard. You wouldn't think it's that hard to do. But as I went to integrate the X Twitter account onto the new website, it somehow, the two-factor authorization part, I swear to God, it used to just text me on my cell phone and I would say, yeah, it's me, I'm in. I personally think somehow I got verified on that Twitter account. I don't think I pay for anything on that thing. Someday I got to check, and then the next day or the next time I tried to log in, it asked for a code. It asked for an authorization app that I never set up. So basically, I don't have access to this thing. So it's been a month since I've been on that account. Now, normally, take a break from the Twitter account is probably a good thing for you. But I use that account to kind of market or kind of just share what I've been doing on the channel. And it's been frustrating as hell. And then I can't get a human being to contact me from that fucking X place. It is bananas, bro. The author is, and then the other part, and then this is just, I'm sorry, I'm going deep down the well. On my normal, personalized Twitter thing that I try usually just to talk about Padres and normal family stuff or whatever, Sport Davis stuff. I've been trying to get a hold of this X support, but when you log in to try to get back into even talk to support or contact support through Twitter or X, you have to do this normally the things to say, hey, are you a human or not? It's hey, check the box that is a crosswalk, or check the cars or the motorcycles. The ones on Twitter are 15. You have to do 15 times, and you have to line up this animal to look at the same direction that your finger's pointing. So the finger will be pointing this way, and the animal won't line up there. It'll line up here or here. And you're well, I don't know it's neither. But you have to do it 15 times. And then if you miss one, they make you do it again, but they don't tell you which one you missed. So I spent this morning, I did it 4 fucking times. Now I'm telling you, I don't pretend to be the sharpest guy in the world by any means. Okay? I zero pretending that. But come on, dog. I do have a fucking PhD. I do feel like I can pass are you a human or not authorization test before 5 times taking it this morning. All to do the same thing to just try to get access to this Twitter account. It's crazy. It's bananas to me. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to try all summer. But at some point, I'm going to give up. And I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be real sad. That's probably it. If anybody knows anybody who can help me at that company, I would appreciate the connection, because I don't. All right. We're on to the next. Gabriel, sick hat. Appreciate it. I like it. I was looking for a Padres, a little touch of blue. Chris Peace, QB battle to watch the Steelers. Really? I feel like it's Russell Wilson until he doesn't play well, and then it's Justin. But maybe I'm wrong. Griffin, what's your favorite concept paired with a pulling guard? Do you prefer a pulling guard versus an even or odd front? Favorite concept paired with a pulling guard. I don't even know if I understand that question. So what play do I love where the guard pulls? I mean, power, counter, pin and pull. I don't think of it as like even or odd front per se. To me, it was much more who's our best pulling lineman, who creates the most consistent, best movement at a double team at the point of attack, if it's power or counter. So like sometimes every year was a different adventure calling plays, right? Every year at most levels, you're going to have different set of people in front of you playing offensive line. If one guy is great on the move, well, then let's put our big time double team guy on the other side. And so we'll be heavy running just that way. Doesn't mean you always have to do it, but that's how my mind worked. So usually I had a more athletic guard on one side and a more kind of mauler on the other. Now, I think historically, if you look across the landscape of the league, the mauler is usually the right guard and the left guard is more the athletic puller type, just because the league is so right-hand dominant with the tight hashes. But it could be different anywhere. Oh, passing concept, Griffin. See, that works better. Passing concept with a pulling guard. I mean, I think the most common one is, that pop pass that, Tom Brady, Gronk talks about in that one show with where they think the top 100 players, where they talk about them stealing it from Peyton Manning. And to me, that's just long trap action where you're pulling the guard, the front side. So if we're pulling the left guard and 5-person kind of, or 5 offensive linemen up front, the left guard is pulling or trap blocking, and the right side, the center, the right guard, and the right tackle are all blocking down. Now, the tough block is that kind of A-B gap on the left side. So for that left tackle and that center, the center's holding the A gap on the backside, and that tackle's got to have a heavy B, but also pass protect on the C gap, like a defensive end. That's a tough block. And so any pressure to the weak side of that long trap action to me is tough. But if you get a just even, soft front, whether it's odd or even, I feel like you're good to go. If there was ever any pressure, I used to like to just check out of that thing, go full slide, or not create that bubble where you're pulling the guard. But you definitely get better action with the second level defenders, linebacker, safety types, with that pulling guard to get that pop pass right around him. Joe, what's good? Joe, I saw your live. I don't know who those dudes were you were with, but it looked fun. It's a little, I should have, I thought about having a little cocktail on Friday, but got some youth sports this afternoon that I got to make it through. Appreciate it, though. Zach Nelson, JT, how do you feel about a potential sophomore Bryce Young breakout? I feel pretty good. I feel real good. Hopefully it doesn't go worse. Oh, my God. That would be tough. Who's he throwing it to? 19 still around? Well, you tell me after. Leggett, oh, yeah. Could potentially add some capable separation rates. Yeah. I mean, you would think that almost anybody would get better their second year. Now, I don't know if that's possible for CJ Stroud, but probably. Bryce Young, I would imagine getting just another voice in there that has had some success, helping quarterbacks thrive or get that kind of second opportunity, or for Baker, second, third, fourth opportunity to be able to go in there and thrive. That would be a great thing. We'll see what it looks like. I mean, last year people told me the offensive line was going to be great down there. It looked rough. People love to tell me that, the wide receivers separate at a really high rate down there. And then I watch the film and it doesn't look like that. So I'm hopeful for Bryce Young. I still believe in Bryce Young. I always tell people it's tough when you're in it, especially when someone has such an amazing season like CJ Stroud did last year as a rookie, to think that, it's not always going to be sunshine and lollipops, but there will probably be a regression to the mean. Now, maybe his mean is just higher than anyone ever expected, or at least I expected. But I'm excited to see Bryce Young kind of potentially thrive with some better weapons in a different system. Joe, true that. Well, talking about Mac Jones not getting better in his second year, was that the year where, like, we just had our friends as the offense coordinator, right? What's his face was gone. A little bit of a different situation, certainly a different situation. But so many things, so many variables have to be aligned for a quarterback to have success, especially early on, especially when you're a high draft pick. Off the top of my head, I don't remember when Mac got drafted, but it wasn't like in the teens, maybe double digits for sure, right? So you're coming into a different type of team than you are, one overall usually, except for this year. People freak the hell out. I understand Caleb Williams come into a better situation. Don't freak the hell out. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot the Panthers got Johnson from Pittsburgh. I mean, we'll see. That's the dude who's got the effort issues, right? Or at least I thought had the effort issues on film. I'm sure he'll be on his best behavior the first couple weeks. We'll see. Vlad, I have no idea how to pronounce your last name. I apologize. No more coaching, JT? Question mark. No. We're still coaching Little League Baseball. Got minors, TOC coming up next week. Big game. I don't know who we play. But yeah, no more coaching football right now. Love what you're doing here, but curious why you stopped coaching. Oh, Vlad, we don't want to go down there. I already had one therapy session earlier in this live. Do me a favor, Vlad. We'll have a little one-on-one conversation. Okay, see if I can do this. Think of a reason why you wouldn't want to do something. Any reason. Anyone, as you're watching this, think of something like, I don't want to do this because of this. Every thought that all of us just had, how many people we got in here? Almost 100 of our closest friends. All of them were reasons why I'm not coaching right now. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, and that's putting it nicely. But never say never. Maybe one day. Again, as you come into this thing, do me a favor, hit that like button. We'll keep this thing going for a little bit longer. I already talked about the things that I wanted to talk about as far as make sure you check out the new website. Let me know what you think. Honestly, give me some feedback. There's not a great way to give me feedback anymore, to be honest with you. Maybe comment in the live or come at me sideways. Actually, you can come at me sideways on X. I won't get it. I won't have access to it, but eventually I'll see it. Maybe they'll see the activity on the channel and realize, why the hell hasn't this guy posted on there? Joe, TOC season, it can be rough. Every league approaches it a little bit different. But yeah, it's fun for the guys to continue to play. Kevin, the PRF. I'm concerned for Jaden Daniels. He's known for taking care of the ball. Tighter QB windows plus weak OT, weak offensive tackle position equal tucking and running a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned for him too. We'll see what it looks like. I'm curious to see what Cliff looks like. Cliff, what is this going to be? Cliff 3.0, Cliff 4.0, Cliff 2.1. We'll see. Well, I think I've talked about it in the past as far as I think that there are ways potentially for Cliff to evolve in real time to have better protect and help a young quarterback. Now, he certainly knows what the hell he's doing as far as stats, generating chunks, big plays, explosives, but it's also about the development, the health, the progress that I think you can also overlay into kind of valuing what a guy like Cliff Kingsbury can bring to the quarterback position. So I'm curious to see what they look like schematically, what they look like personnel-wise when they actually come out and start playing games in Washington. Griffin, you're on fire. Just thinking about how Andy Reid has evolved as a play caller to go from under center in the 2000s with McNabb to where he's at with Mahomes is interesting. Do you ever miss the 7-step drop back? Come on, Griffin. You're just trying to heat me up, bro. You're trying to get me fired up. I will say, so to me, and again, I try to acknowledge in these situations that this is just my opinion. It's not like I'm having conversations with Andy Reid or Shanahan or, insert McVay, insert anyone who's like doing it at what I consider the tip of the spear on Sundays consistently or ever. But to me, a 7-step drop from under center is the same as a 5-step drop from gun. In my mind, timing-wise, is my autofocus. So timing-wise, I always equated gun to -2. So say under center, you install a concept, it's 7-step drop. You're in gun, -2, it's a 5 from gun. Quick game, 3-step, 1-step. Now I'm not saying that's the way every team does it. I'm saying for me, going through, almost over a third of the league a long time ago, that's how I did it, how I equated it. And so 7-step concepts still exist, but you're not taking 7 steps from under center. So it's kind of a, I personally just despised it because I felt like it was like a video game back there sometimes, and I was just getting smacked in some of those 7-step drops, but they still kind of exist. And guys like Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes specifically, Patrick Mahomes and what he and Kelsey do, they have a little bit more of what I would consider like a recess vibe sometimes where, I think of that massive play. It was in the Super Bowl, right? That wasp throw. That was like a 9-step drop, wasn't it? Like Patrick Mahomes has got such a strong arm that he can get the depth and kind of feel the timing of it, hit his back foot and throw it where he needs to. Where, I don't think that's like a normal human quarterback doing it very often. Tubby Chili. The best thing about that joke is it's you are. Okay, I'll help you out. You try to be funny. Let's make sure we catch the grammar cop. Okay. Yeah, welcome to the channel, buddy. If that's the first time you ever got that, I appreciate the support. Oh, you owe me meme. Bro, I don't know if I want to go down that route. What are your feelings regarding CTE and brain damage from football, and how do you think it will change the future of the sport? Jesus, bro, that is like not sure I'm ready for that in-depth kind of mental gymnastics I would have to do to answer that in any sort of like honest way. I think it's pretty scary for a lot of guys who played for a long time. I'm hopeful that it makes the game better moving forward. I don't know. The game gave me so much, and it was really a trampoline in my life on so many different levels that it would be sad personally if it ever kind of changed so much that it didn't kind of look like it did back in the day or when I played it, just because I enjoyed playing it so much. But the safety thing is real. Being a parent, is real. When you think about the safety of your kids, I don't think it's for everyone by any means. It certainly is scary, specifically for guys who, suffer from multiple concussions and serious brain damage, especially as they continue to get older. I've got buddies that, have tried really hard to get kind of, the support from the league. And some guys have had great experiences. Some guys have really struggled to get the support they feel like they deserve. It's not easy. There's no easy way around it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to tell you it's easy. I will tell you that for the most part, I feel really fortunate because I didn't get hit that much, that hopefully I don't have to deal with those types of things. But I'm also not ignorant to the fact that it's potentially coming for all of us. So, yeah, pretty wild. What else we got? You guys gotten deep today. Oh, man. Xavier Jesus, I had no idea how to do that, but I did catch the football icon in the question, so I'll see if I can answer the question. Question, : is it best to throw with arm near the head? I don't even know what that means. Is it best to throw with arm near the head? I mean, it's got to be kind of near your head, right? It's attached to your shoulder. I personally, so let me answer this how I think you're trying to ask the question. When you're talking about release point, I personally think that a natural release point is the best way to describe it. Now, back in the day, it used to be over the top, high, get over the line of scrimmage. Now I feel like guys are much looser with the capacity to, to tolerate a 3/4 or even borderline sidearm or different arm angles that guys practice all the time. I was more of a naturally 3/4 guy, so I'm probably a little bit looser with those types of things. The only thing I would say is, I personally aesthetically prefer like an elbow at or above the shoulder when you release it. Other than that, I think it's kind of a unique signature to whatever your most consistent, powerful arm slot is. Daniel, boom. What's good? Vlad, do your kids play football? I have 3 boys. The oldest one played tackle football last year as like a Pop Warner situation as an 8th grader. He thinks he's playing high school football in the fall. We'll see, how it shakes out for him. The other ones have played flag football in the past. They're kind of still, they do the soccer thing, enjoy soccer. They've not expressed any direct interest in playing like football, let alone tackle football. I didn't play tackle football until high school, so I personally don't think there's a huge rush. Now, I got buddies that that think that there's a huge disadvantage to not playing Pop Warner. There's certainly, in my opinion, as someone who coached high school football, you can tell a guy who comes into high school who's played a lot of Pop Warner, just because I always think the comfort of being able to tackle and the collision and just the kind of like counterintuitive element of running full speed into another human. It's hard to learn quickly, but you can tell guys that have a lot of experience, like running the ball or blocking or moving people. Now, I think that's caught up. You can catch up to that really quickly, like by the time you're a sophomore. So I think it's all kind of gets evened out in the wash. But there's certainly an advantage tackle football wise as you go into the secondary or high school with that experience. I don't think you have to do it by any means. And quarterback wise, fuck man, trying to think of the Pop Warner games I watched last year. I didn't see a whole lot of what I would consider like high level quarterback play. It was a lot of snap, handoff, snap, fumble, run around. So, maybe that's just what I was watching, and you guys are out there balling somewhere. But it's one of those things where until you get the strength to do some of the things that quarterbacks are asked to do, you're not really playing the position like we see it on TV until you get a little bit bigger and stronger. Fern. I see what you did there, Fern, with the dolphin emoji. Okay. Do you think Tua is set to have the best year of his career this coming season? Yes. I mean, what would be the reasons he wouldn't? Injuries? No. Got 2 of the best wide receivers, I think, in the game. Didn't they add somebody too? They add OBJ. That scheme is pretty awesome. I think they're tip of the sphere as far as, innovation and how they create space and matchup issues down the field. Now, if he goes out there and gets nicked up and doesn't play a full set of games, we're in trouble. Soj King. Sure, I said that wrong too, so I apologize. Do you think international games are hurting the league or a good thing? I think it's a good thing. Obviously generates interest, but is the gimmick hurting playoff chances? Gimmick? No. I don't think so. In fact, I think it's a great thing. I think it's only a matter of time before there's a franchise internationally. I think the NFL sees the value in the growth internationally. I think the players see the value of, their personal brands, the team, the dollars, all those types of things that come from a larger, wider, better, deeper fan base. So no, it's the wave of the future, bro. Whether it's London, Mexico City, Canada, whatever it is, I think it's only a matter of time. I think the NBA has been way ahead of this for a long time. It's obviously easier, I would say, for the NBA and how that game is kind of the equipment needed for it and how it's grown and the popularity of, maybe a few generations ago. But they're the blueprint for how to build that international fan base. And then you pull, not only are you building the fan base, you're also pulling a bigger potential, players. You get a couple more international players that aren't just, kickers or punt returners. And maybe now you get, some guys that touch the ball, some guys that throw the ball potentially, those types of things that can really kind of spread the interest of the game. Hoffenheim, appreciate you. Who will be the biggest surprise this season? I mean, who am I hoping will be the biggest surprise this season? For sure, the Bears. The Bears. I think it's a really tough division. Who else would be the biggest surprise? What would be a big surprise this season? It would be interesting to see if the Jets, would the Jets be a surprise? I guess they would. I'm never going to doubt a dude like Aaron Rodgers to come out and just be him against the world. Now, I might not agree with, 90% of this shit that comes out of his mouth, but you can't deny the fact that the dude can spin it and wins and is surgical. And I wouldn't bet against him if he was healthy. That's for damn sure. Especially with a year full of some chips on his shoulder. I'm trying to think who else would be a potential biggest surprise of the year. I guess if one of the quarterbacks besides Caleb Williams goes off, say Bo Nix goes into Denver and just lights the league on fire for the first couple weeks or first couple months, those types of things would be big surprises. I don't think that's going to happen. If I had to bet on a surprise besides Caleb Williams, I'd probably say if J.J. McCarthy goes in and just turns the Minnesota Vikings into, the Michigan Wolverines and they're just winning and he's playing at a high level and he's more athletic than people think. Those types of things are things that could happen. There's no way the Eagles are a big surprise team, right? Just because you don't play as well as you wanted to last year doesn't mean that you're going to be a, surprise. Chris Peace, biggest surprises, the Giants, the Panthers, and the Patriots making a playoff run. Any of those happen, and I would be surprised. If I had to guess, I would probably say I would be pulling for the Panthers. I think it's going to be really hard for the Patriots to make the playoffs in that division. Same thing with the Giants. Some of you guys, some of the questions fucking crack me up, man. If Josh Allen busts, what do you mean if he busts and doesn't become a top quarterback? He's already a top quarterback. Josh Allen is already not a bust. There is no bust in Josh Allen. Do we see quarterbacks like May and Trey Lance getting drafted top 3 still? What are we talking about, Doc? Obviously, people wouldn't want to draft Trey Lance again in the top 3, but there are misses in the draft all the time. What is the percentage of hitting a quarterback in the first top 10? Isn't it less than 50%? Maybe a third of those guys hit? Yeah, I don't know. Griffin, good point on the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers would be a surprise. Is anybody going to be surprised when the Chargers come out and win a bunch of games and muck it up and make it look ugly and go old school 2004, running 2-back power and Justin Herbert throws for 30 touchdowns and 1 interception? I don't think so. I'm not going to be surprised. That's what they do. Now, I also won't be surprised when it gets better competition in the playoffs and that offense can potentially get exposed if they're not as good up front, if they play somebody superior up front, if they can't create any separation and have no innovation on the perimeter. No one's going to be surprised by that stuff, right? That's what it's always been with those guys. Shane Paul, as a QB guy, do you enjoy watching some wing slot T every now and then? I don't enjoy watching it. I've certainly done a bunch of what I would consider like my own kind of deep dives into many and all of those systems. I love the slot T stuff. Like I've stolen a bunch of stuff, elements of the buck, elements of the waggle from wing T stuff. I think that there's significant value in some of the deception that they do, how they roll, how comfortable they are with their certain plays that they're really good at. But do I watch it? Like, do I seek it out to be like, I'm going to watch some slot T today? Hell no. But do I have books on the slot T? And have I talked to coaches that run it and teach it? Yeah. And have I hijacked their stuff? Hell yeah. For sure. Boom. All right, bro. I think that's a wrap. I appreciate you guys hanging out. How long did we go today? Oh, man. Over 45 minutes. Do me a favor as we close out here. Okay. Check out the new website. Okay. Just go to it right now. Type in a question. Let me know what you think about the AI element of it. See if it works for you. If it doesn't work, come at me. Let me know what it sends, where it sends you to. I appreciate you spreading the word. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on the other side. All right.